It was the sort of sweltering summer day where the air felt like it was trying to smother everyone into a lazy stupor. Jeff, however, was immune to such mundane human discomforts, though he did notice Arthur's less than enthusiastic demeanor as they lounged in their cluttered living room. "What this day needs is a splash of excitement. Literally," Jeff exclaimed, fanning himself with a magazine for dramatic effect, even though he didn't feel the heat. Arthur, sprawled on the couch with a fan blowing directly on him, merely grunted. His attention was on a popsicle that was melting faster than he could eat it. Just then, a gust of wind blew a flyer through their open window, which Jeff caught with a quick snap of his hand. "Look at this, Arthur. It's a sign from the universe. Or at least from someone's very powerful air conditioner." He read aloud. "Come cool off at SplashZone Waterpark, the newest and most exciting summer adventure." This, my friend, is exactly what we need. Arthur peered at the flyer with a skeptical eye. "A water park, Jeff? You do know that involves actual water, right? Not just the illusion of it." Undeterred, Jeff was already rummaging through their mismatched collection of belongings for something resembling swimwear. "How hard can it be? I've mastered fire, conquered earth, dabbled in air. How different can water be?" Arthur watched as Jeff held up a pair of bright neon swim trunks adorned with flamingos. "Very different, Jeff. Water is slippery and wet." "Perfect," Jeff declared, tossing the trunks to Arthur. "You need to cool off, and I need to explore." "It's settled then. We're going to the water park." The next morning, they arrived at Splash Zone, which buzzed with the energy of excited families and shrieking children running past with floaties clutched under their arms. The scent of sunscreen was potent, and colorful water slides spiraled toward the sky like giant sea serpents. Jeff's eyes sparkled with mischief as he took in the sights. "Oh, the chaos I could conjure here is practically palpable." Arthur, adjusting his own more subdued swim trunks, handed Jeff a bottle of sunscreen. "First rule of human water activities: always use protection from the sun." Jeff eyed the bottle suspiciously. "Is it a potion?" "No, it's to stop you from burning," Arthur explained, trying not to laugh as he showed Jeff how to apply it. Slathering the lotion with more enthusiasm than skill, Jeff managed to get more on his clothes than on his skin. Slippery and greasy, this day is full of surprises. "Just remember to act human, or at least try not to scare anyone," Jeff grinned, slapping on a pair of sunglasses. "I'll be the epitome of human fun. Come on, let's start with something easy. How about that lazy river?" As they made their way to the lazy river, Jeff's curiosity about everything was palpable. He questioned the lifeguards about the water's source and temperature, wondered aloud why the water had to be chlorinated, and even asked a family if the current was always this lazy. Once in the water, Jeff took to it with surprising delight. He floated along, spinning in his tube and chatting up anyone within earshot. His laugh, booming and joyful, drew smiles from other guests. Arthur watched as Jeff interacted with children, showing them how to splash gently and making small waves with his hands, careful not to use any of his more demonic abilities. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, they floated under a bridge festooned with flowering vines. Jeff, relaxed and sprawled in his tube, looked over at Arthur. "I must admit, this is quite the marvelous human invention. It's like a bath, but enormous and much more social." Arthur laughed, shaking his head. "Only you could relate a lazy river to a bath. Glad you're enjoying it, though." As they exited the lazy river, Jeff's enthusiasm hadn't waned in the slightest. "What's next?" "I think I'm ready to escalate our adventures here. How about we tackle one of those slides?" Arthur, feeling the infectious pull of Jeff's excitement, nodded. "Lead the way, Jeff. Let's see what kind of splash you can really make." Together, they headed towards the slides, ready for more water-filled fun, leaving a trail of laughter and lighthearted banter in their wake. Jeff's day at the water park was turning out to be just as refreshing for his spirit as it was for his body. Invigorated by their relaxing float down the lazy river, Jeff and Arthur set their sights on the towering slides of SplashZone. The slides, each with its own thrilling twist and turn, loomed like colorful serpents against the clear blue sky. Jeff's excitement was palpable, his eyes wide as they approached the base of the tallest slide, aptly named the Typhoon. "Now this is what I call an adventure," Jeff exclaimed, pointing upwards where water cascaded down a steep, winding tube. Arthur, slightly less enthusiastic about the prospect of hurling down at breakneck speeds, nodded. "Just remember, keep it low-key. We don't want to accidentally create a real typhoon." Jeff laughed, clapping Arthur on the back as they joined the line. "Fear not. I shall conquer this slide as a mere mortal would." When their turn came, Jeff dove onto the slide with a whoop of joy, Arthur following more cautiously after him. The rush of water and speed gripped them as they spiraled down, water splashing everywhere. At the bottom, Jeff emerged from the slide, spluttering and laughing. "What a rush. Let's do it again." Arthur, catching his breath, agreed for a second round, and they repeated their descent, this time with Jeff trying to race the water itself, adding to their hilarity. After tiring of the slides, they wandered over to the wave pool, ready to tackle more aquatic challenges. The pool, bustling with families and thrill seekers, was a dynamic contrast to the tranquility of the lazy river. As they approached, Jeff's enthusiasm reached new heights. He stared at the artificially generated waves with wide-eyed wonder. "Behold, the ocean in a box," he declared, gesturing grandly towards the water. Arthur chuckled, shaking his head. "It's not quite the ocean, but yeah, something like that." Without hesitation, Jeff leaped into the water, only to surface spluttering a few seconds later. "It fights back!" he exclaimed, wiping water from his face, his surprise turning into delight. "How marvelously mischievous!" Throughout the morning, Jeff attempted to engage with the water as if it were a sentient being, offering it truce terms and trying to charm it into cooperation. Each time a wave knocked him off balance, he'd emerge laughing, claiming, "We're negotiating!" Arthur, keeping a watchful eye, ensured Jeff's antics remained safe and within the acceptable chaos threshold of human recreational activities. He couldn't help but laugh at Jeff's attempts to befriend the waves, each negotiation more animated than the last. As the day progressed, their playful explorations continued. Jeff, now thoroughly soaked and endlessly amused, decided to try every water feature the park offered, from racing down racer slides to bobbing in the kiddie pool, where he pretended to be a sea monster, albeit a very friendly one, much to the delight of the children. Exhausted but exhilarated, Jeff and Arthur finally took a break, lounging under a large umbrella with ice creams in hand. "You know, Arthur, I think I could get used to this human idea of fun. It's exhausting, but exhilarating." Arthur smiled, watching families and friends enjoy the water around them. "Just wait until you see what else humans do for fun. This is just the splashy beginning." Their laughter mingled with the ambient sounds of the water park, a testament to a day well spent. Jeff's first water park adventure was proving not only to be a refreshing escape from the summer heat, but also a perfect blend of chaos and charm. As the afternoon sun began its descent, casting long shadows over SplashZone, Jeff and Arthur decided to cap off their day of water-based exploits with one last visit to the wave pool. By now, Jeff had become something of a minor celebrity around the park. His exuberant antics and friendly demeanor had caught the eye of both patrons and staff alike, drawing a small crowd wherever he splashed. Upon their return to the wave pool, Jeff was greeted with cheers from some of the children he'd entertained earlier. They chanted his name as he made a theatrical entrance, diving into the water with a flourish that sent waves rippling across the pool. "Look at you, becoming the star of SplashZone," Arthur commented with a laugh, watching as Jeff bobbed in the water, waving at the kids. "It seems I have indeed made some waves today," Jeff quipped, winking at Arthur. His delight was evident. He thrived on the interaction and the joy he could bring to others, even if it was through something as simple as playing in a pool. As he floated around, engaging with the families and orchestrating playful splashing contests, one of the park managers approached Arthur. "Your friend, He's quite the character, she said, smiling broadly. He's turned our wave pool into the most popular attraction of the day. How would he feel about being part of a special event? We're thinking of having a Demon of the Wave Pool feature for the closing hour. Arthur looked over at Jeff, who was currently orchestrating a group of kids into a synchronized splashing routine. I think he'd love that, Arthur replied. But just to be clear, we're keeping it fun and safe, right? Absolutely, the manager assured. Just a bit of extra fun to end the day. We'll give him a little spotlight, maybe a microphone to narrate a grand water battle or something along those lines. With everything agreed upon, Jeff was thrilled when Arthur relayed the news. Energized by the prospect of playing a starring role, he immediately began planning out his performance. As the Demon of the Wave Pool event began, Jeff took center stage, or rather, center pool. The park staff had set up speakers from which playful, dramatic music played. Jeff, now wearing a waterproof microphone headset, narrated a mock-epic battle between the sea creatures, inflatable toys, and the human heroes, the children. Brave warriors, unite to tame the untamable beasts of the deep, Jeff boomed, his voice carrying over the waves. Under his direction, the kids launched a playful assault on floating dragons and sea serpents, their laughter filling the air. Jeff was in his element, using his demonically enhanced abilities to gently manipulate the water, creating small, safe whirlpools that delighted his audience. The children, armed with water guns and noodles, declared victory over the beasts, cheering their success and their benevolent demon guide. As the event drew to a close, the manager thanked Jeff and Arthur. That was fantastic. The kids, and let's be honest, the adults too, had a blast. We'd love to have Jeff come back for more events like this. Exhausted but satisfied, Jeff and Arthur wrapped up their day at the park. As they walked toward the exit, the setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, reflecting off the water's surface. You know, Arthur, I think I learned something today, Jeff mused. Sometimes making a splash isn't about causing chaos. It's about making waves of joy. Arthur chuckled, slinging an arm around Jeff's shoulder. Well said, Jeff, well said. Let's go home and dry off. We've earned a good night's rest. They left the park with the echoes of laughter behind them. The day's adventures a warm memory. Jeff's stint as the Demon of the Wave Pool had not only cooled them off, but had also warmed hearts, proving once again that even a demon could bring a touch of magic to the simplest human joys.